I'm Earl Bosworth, Assistant City Manager here in Pompano Beach. It's great to welcome you tonight. We have a great group of presenters, and HOK Architects and Roca Point Partners are here. Tonight we're going to talk about City Hall, the parking garage, design concepts that are a vital part of the new downtown. It's really important, and we're looking forward to your input as we go through the night. And when HOK takes over the program, they'll explain to you how we gather this input, how they look at it, and then how it affects the overall design. So we're pleased to give you this opportunity tonight. We're happy you took the opportunity to come out and give us some of your time to help us plan and give input for this great project. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge some of our commissioners. Commissioner Perkins in the back. Good evening. And District 1 Commissioner Audrey Fessick standing up in the back right there. I don't think I missed anyone. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to HOK.
All right, thank you. So we'll go through the presentation here, and we'll get to your portion of the input. So as we talked about, it's the City Hall downtown and the parking garage associated with it. Our objective here is to talk about the future vision, specifically of the City Hall, and participate in an interactive and focused event. That we want to hear from you. We want to listen and learn what you want as part of this new City Hall. We're going to talk about the programming of it, how we got to this building size, what's going to go into the building, specifically talk about the site that the building is on, and about the design of the building itself. Meetings in basically two halves. The first half is we're going to give a brief presentation, welcoming everybody here, talk about City Hall experience, what goes into a good quality City Hall, a little bit of background on ourselves just so you have an understanding of our level of expertise. We'll give you a design update where we are right now. It's a very fluid design. We're iterating the design as we move through it. For those of you that have previously been to some of these other meetings, you'll see some updates from where we were before, and we're currently working on updating this design further as we receive additional input from yourselves tonight. And then we'll talk about information gathering, and that's going to be some interactive exercises with the boards on the sides of the room here so that we can get input from you on what you like and what you dislike. So let me go ahead and introduce the team here. My name is Jonathan Ray. I'm with HOK Architects. I'm the principal in charge. We have Christine Johnson. She's our subject matter expert, firm-wide leader for civic and government. We have Suzette Goldstein. She's a firm-wide leader of urban planning. We have Stephen Burgos, lead interior designer. And then we have our project manager, Catherine Goncalves. She keeps us all organized. All right, just a little bit about HOK. We've been around for 70 years. We were founded in 1955. We have 26 offices worldwide, 1,700 employees. We are well received by our peers. You can see up there the American Institute of Architects has given us more than 150 awards over the years, specifically on this building type, civic and government type buildings. And you can see we are an influential company according to Time magazine. Specifically here in the Southeast, we have 4 offices, 2 of them here in Florida. I'm in Tampa. Several of the people here are in the Miami office. We have 215 employees just in the Southeast in those 4 offices listed. In the last 5 years, we've done 10 plus civic and justice buildings, buildings similar to what we're talking about today. The office in Florida was established in 1984. We're very familiar on how to do a building in Florida, the type of building that needs to be to resist Florida weather, Florida heat, Florida humidity, all those types of things. And then as a firm, we have done more than 20 million square feet of civic and government type buildings. Here's some examples of some of the buildings that we have currently. The building in the upper center there is Sarasota's new admin center.
So we wanted to talk a little bit about future city halls and what we look at from a design lens when we're planning these buildings. But before we go into that, just want to take a step back and, the design team, Roca Point and the city share a lot of common values, right? We want this project to create a sense of place. We want to provide unique user experiences for residents and visitors to the city hall. And last but not least, the project should provide a positive impact to the community. And that really is embodied in the brand promise of the city for this project. And I'll just read the promise to you. For people who value genuine hometown qualities, but also want the lifestyle a progressive modern city affords, we will provide an environment where your comfort, enjoyment, and success is our top priority. So for projects like this, we look at it through these three lenses. The building really being a catalyst, we want to design for placemaking, and we want to design for resiliency. So let's unpack a few of these. When we talk about creating sense of place, what we really mean is about creating a destination. We want to create a place where a community can come together. We want it to be vibrant. We want it to be activated. And we do want it to be enjoyable. And so some of these images that you see up here are inspiration imagery, aspirational qualities that we want the project to have. We want the city hall to really be that anchor for the new downtown and be that catalyst for the things that are going on around it. We want the project to be sustainable and resilient, and what we mean by that is we can start to embody qualities within the project that will help it long-term to contribute environmentally and sustainability. So looking at things like stormwater control, how do we integrate renewables potentially, and then creating shading and green space. We do live in South Florida, the climate's very hot, so we want to take all these things into consideration as we're planning the building. Being a city hall and a government project, we want to make sure that it's secure, but at the same time, it's not closed off, it is accessible, and it is welcoming. So through interventions like creating a welcoming lobby space, creating transparency with glass, making the building feel more approachable, this will create that connection between government and the city. We want it to be flexible and future-proof. This building needs to last several decades, so we want to make sure that we're bringing the latest thought leadership when it comes to creating workplace and government-type projects, and building in that flexibility so that as the city evolves and grows over time, the building can grow and evolve with it. Making sure that it's comfortable for the workers within the building and also the residents that are coming to engage in functions with the city. And then obviously being a modern environment that represents the progressiveness that is Pompano Beach. We also want to make sure that we're incorporating technology, and we can do that through many ways. There can be multidimensional elements. There can be kind of this intuitive technology and wayfinding. So as you interact with the building and you come to do functions, there is that technology aspect that's layered onto it. And then we want to connect users to that purpose. We want to tell those stories about Pompano Beach and about the City Hall. We want it to be vibrant. We want it to be engaging and interactive. So you'll see in some of the exercises in a little bit, we want to get feedback on how we can start to better tell those stories with this project.
So some of you might be asking, what is a city hall? And city halls really, they originated as these central buildings that were for local government and sometimes central places for community events. They've always been hubs of civic engagement and activity, and throughout history, they've often been built in places that were also market hubs, so hubs of commerce, not unlike what we're trying to do here with this new downtown environment. So City Hall it's your place, that's your seat for your local government, and that's where your city commission resides. That's where you're going to speak out at these community meetings. This is where discussions around community happen, and this is also where services are taking place. So this can also be an environment that gives your community a sense of pride and can have functions that are civic inspired, civic engagement type opportunities and places for community. So in your city hall, your current city hall right now is averaging about 700 visitors a work week, which is kind of a lot for this community, right? So in the new city hall, we're going to be bringing in even more departments. We're looking at 3 additional departments that are consolidating. So the plan is we're adding these additional departments, but we're also planning for future growth. So this is a long-term asset for the city, and as staff grows or services are added in, we have the space to grow within. So all of these departments that are shown here on this slide are things that are contemplated for the new city hall, and things that you may not be aware of. And in some of the previous community meetings, some of the residents asked, what might I go to City Hall for? And maybe you're going to pay your utility bill. Maybe you're going to a commission meeting or another community event. Maybe you're going to pull a building permit or talk about something with the Building Services Department. You may be going to the Chamber of Commerce in the future. So there are a number of reasons that you may be going there during work hours. And then hopefully there are reasons that you're going for community engagement into this downtown community and downtown environment after work hours. So from a program perspective, we're really still early in this design process, and we're iterating, as Jonathan mentioned earlier. But one of the first places we start is programming, and we interviewed over 18 different departments contemplated for this building. So we met with everyone. We tried to understand how many people they currently have in their departments, projecting out what the future growth might be in these departments. And we started looking at a modern workplace and how do we develop a flexible space standard that's going to make this a modern work environment and have that flexible use for the future. So that's applied in this program after we built consensus on that, and that gives us a targeted outgrowth for the year 2045, which is a 20-year horizon. It's got the consolidation of those departments, and that's where we're roughly at about 116,000 gross square feet. So we've also done a lot of concept exploration, trying to figure out how the new City Hall building would sit on this site that is contemplated. How does it express all of those building characteristics that Stephen talked about? And we're going to kind of unpack some of those ideas with you tonight. We really want to listen and get your feedback of how this sits within its place, how it's providing for that enhanced user experience for not just the people who are coming to visit, but also the staff that work here. This could be used as a recruiting and retention tool for city government. And then how does this building have a positive impact on its community? So you might be asking, how can City Hall better serve you? So some of the things that we're looking at are how do we organize the building in a manner that helps serve the community. So putting those higher transaction level functions lower in the building. As you know, when you go into City Hall today, you go through a security and check-in process. You're often trying to figure out what floor you're going to. The transaction windows are not occurring there at the main level, and you're kind of having to hunt through the building. So how is this all consolidated on a lower level? Are there options that there are other training and support spaces within the building that could be potential for community use or other departments within the city? So we're looking at all of that flexibility. We're also trying to improve circulation to the building and within the building. Provide, as I mentioned, for those amenity spaces that are still being talked about, and then consider resiliency. How do we make sure we're getting above the floodplain? How are we building the building to modern building standards so that it's accessible to everyone who's coming to visit City Hall, that we don't have some of the same problems that we're seeing in surrounding communities with their government buildings? All right,
So this is what we learned from the first community meeting. In the Civic Plaza, everybody is very much interested in having a lot of greenery. We all want to have shade trees. We appreciate having a vibrant tropical type foliage. We want to make sure that it's multifunctional, that various community events can be held in these types of in this community green and those types of things. We want to make sure that there's an outdoor workspace, taking the opportunity of the nice climate that we have here in Florida, have the opportunity to potentially work outside. Want to have plaza activities like farmers markets, outdoor concerts, fitness, any sort of like dance socials, and make sure everything's kid friendly. Some other input we received on the Civic Plaza art is, everybody's very fond of the painted pompano fish. So take that type of idea, sculptural benches, lighting, it's something that's on the graphics. It could be on permanent surfaces, things like that. Local storytelling. This is Pompano. Let's make it feel like Pompano. Local artists. Those community stories, murals, graphics get integrated into the overall design. That culture, the history, some sort of a walk of fame was talked about. The legacy wall, again, various mural panels, interactive kinetic displays, things that bring activity to the area that's specifically addressing Pompano. But one of the big things we heard was a space for all. Free Wi-Fi throughout the new development, flexible spaces, spaces that can be used for small businesses and students. Everybody wants it to be welcome, wants it to be comfortable, wants it to be safe. When it came to the actual city hall itself, there was a talk about a lot of mix of various materials. Glass lobby, everybody felt the glass lobby would be very welcoming. And again, we're in Florida, we like our color. Let's get some vibrant colors as part of this overall development. The building itself, when you get into the inside, there's a lot of talk about flexible spaces, shared meeting rooms, event spaces that could be used by the community, touchdown co-working spaces for anybody who has a small business, give them an opportunity to have a space to hold a meeting potentially. When it came to parking garages, basically everybody said they don't want a parking garage to look like a parking garage. So if that means putting textures, arts, sustainable elements on the garage to take away some of that look, it was very much supported. And then the functions of the actual parking garage itself, a lot of digital wayfinding was brought up. Nobody wants to spiral up a parking garage just to find out there's no parking spaces. So, some sort of a system at the bottom to let you know what spaces are available in that parking garage. So this is where the design is currently. We are iterating this, updating this as we get input along. On the far left, this shot is taken from the corner of Atlantic and Dixie. Obviously a dangerous place to try and stand, but the view here shows the Pocket Park on the south side. This is where we're thinking about in having a potential memorial or some sort of element, for founders, farmers, pioneers for this area. Could have a sculptural element in it as well. The main facade here is facing west, so facing Dixie Highway there, facing towards Old Town. There was a lot of talk about, the building being future forward-looking, a modern-looking building. Generally here in Pompano, you have done more forward-looking type buildings, not traditional-looking buildings, and the idea of that being maintained was brought up. On the far right, you can see the parking garage. We talked about bright colors. We had talked about the sails out at the parking garage at the beach. We had this idea of potentially tropical leaves, rather than the sails. The feedback we've got is not very positive on this, so we can certainly make some adjustments there. One of the feedback that we've received is making the garage and the building look a little bit more in keeping with each other. They're a little too discongruent right now, so try and get those to look like they belong together a little bit more. Here's a view from the other side. You can see this is from the community green. The community green would certainly be landscaped a lot more than what's being shown here. We've taken out that landscaping so that we can see the building and get an understanding of how the building works. The community council chambers is that curved piece that's closest to us. It would be on the first floor, be easily accessible. You can see the parking garage again on the left. Those sail elements have not been well received, so we're working on changing that. But you can see there's a covered canopy between the buildings, protect everybody from the sun and the rain, so that you can directly access into the building under cover. Large civic plaza there in front of the building, and it would actually step down because we've raised the building up to be above the FEMA floodplain, so that when we get those heavy thunderstorm rains or even rains associated with a tropical storm or a hurricane, you're not going to have flooding in the building. And then just a view a little bit further to the left, down a little bit lower, again of that commission chambers and the building behind it.
And then stepping inside the building, we want to carry some of the design features that I had talked about earlier, making this building welcoming, accessible, and really representing the vibrancy of the community. So what you're seeing here is a very open, glassy lobby. When you step into it, there's kind of clear wayfinding and intuition about where to go. You can clearly see security and check-in. The concept of kind of going to this one-stop counter to access any kind of public-facing city functions is that representation here in the teal. This concept of a gathering stair, so kind of bringing you not only up to the second floor where there may be other shared public functions that you may be accessing when you visit the building, but a place also to kind of sit if you're waiting for an appointment or waiting to meet with somebody. Really starting to activate that lobby with different furniture settings. So again, we talked about spaces for the community, free Wi-Fi, kind of touching down, and then you can see the entry to the chambers over here on the right-hand side. What you're also seeing here is the potential inclusion, again, of like community and public art. So that sculpture that's hanging over the stair, that could be kind of a moment to engage somebody locally to create. And then the flowing water that you're seeing kind of falling down could be some type of digital or interactive moment that, again, we could start to incorporate into the lobby and really make it a place that feels very activated.
Again, thank you for taking your time and being with us tonight. Glad to see you guys here.